Why you should always beware that your closest friend could be your worst enemy. A woman named Naomi was walking home alone from work. She was right across her house when she noticed somebody was following her. It was late at night, so she couldn't see what this person looked like, but she noticed that they had their face covered. All of a sudden, she felt a splash of some sort of liquid on her face. Immediately, she starts screaming and ran towards her house and starts banging on the door for her uncle to open since they lived together at the time. As she's banging on the door, she's screaming that her face is burning. Somebody had thrown acid on her face, which permanently disfigured her. I posted the pictures on my Instagram story since it might be too graphic for TikTok. Her uncle called the police and an ambulance came to take her to the hospital. They asked Naomi if she knew anybody that would want to do something like this to her. Surprising enough, she said her friend Mary of 10 years had said she wanted to throw acid on her one time when they fell out. When they questioned Mary, she claimed she didn't remember saying that to Naomi. While Naomi was in the hospital, Mary was texting her acting concerned, so it couldn't possibly be her. Till police noticed something on CCTV footage. The person with her face covered who attacked Naomi was holding a purse that looked exactly like the purse that Naomi's friend always carried around. Part 2 of why you should always beware that your closest friend could be your worst enemy. After noticing on CCTV footage that Naomi's attacker who threw acid on her face was holding a handbag that looked exactly like her friend Mary's, they took Mary back into custody and got a warrant to search her home. In the home, they found the bag, and the bag had damages that were similar to damages made with acid on that kind of material. They found out that Mary did this to her friend because Naomi called her ugly one time, and Mary took that personally. Mary knew that Naomi had dreams of joining the beauty industry. She was and still is a beautiful girl. That one time they fell out, Mary became friends with Naomi again just to get close to her, just to throw acid on her face because she was jealous of her. She premeditated this attack on her friend. Mary never wanted to admit that she did it. She claimed Naomi threw the acid on her own face. Obviously, the judge did not believe that and sentenced Mary 12 years in prison. Ever since the attack, Naomi felt as if she could never be seen as normal again. She says whenever she goes out in public, people react to her face, which reminds her of what she looks like. It took her a while to get back her self-esteem, but now she has amazing friends who always remind her of how beautiful she is.
When my clients arrive for their appointment, they're not wearing any makeup. But this girl wore makeup to the appointment just to have me take it off and then do her makeup again. I thought that was a little strange, but after I removed her makeup, I saw her nose. The tip of her nose was bright red and even a little bit deformed. It looked like a really, really bad sunburn. I tried to avoid the area when I started doing her makeup, but eventually I had to put makeup on her nose. And when I did, it was just not working. Her skin was literally peeling off. The makeup would not stay. So that's when I asked her, is there something going on with your nose that I should know about? Let me also just say that at this point, it was starting to swell and was noticeably more red than it was when she got there. That's when she told me that she had recently been out of the country for a mission trip and that she had picked up a flesh-eating bacteria, which had affected her nose. Then she told me not to worry because she had been on antibiotics for months, and that the irritation on her nose was just her skin healing. For once, I was horrified, not my client.
When I was 24, me and my sister moved into an apartment together. At the time, I was going to college to get my master's, and she was going in to get her degree. The rent was $500 a month. I know, cheap. We only paid $250 each, but the neighborhood was bad. There was a lot of crackhead, gangs. There was a shooting just about every week. I know, just crazy. Anyways, one day in the middle of the night, we get a hard banging on our door, and it's a lady calling out for help. When I opened it, she had a black eye, she was bruised up, and her forehead was bleeding. I asked what's going on, and she replied her boyfriend is trying to kick her and her kids out of their place. She explained she has a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old, and her boyfriend is throwing all other things out. So I walked over back to her apartment, which was 2 floors down. When we finally reached the apartment, the whole apartment was on fire. She screamed and said her babies were in there.